What's going on, everyone? Thanks for checking out another lesson here. Today, we're going to be talking about breaking out of the pentatonic box, accessing some different notes, some different sounds to get some more authority behind our playing, right? So just doing some noodling there, not really following strictly the progression of the blues or outlining the chords perfectly there, but just wanted to show you, I guess, what it looks like to bust out of that box a little bit, right? To play the notes up the neck, and you can hear that there's a bit more of a sweetness up higher around that 12th fret, right? And then once we pass the 12th fret, it's just another octave, so everything I do down here is the same up here. And so using that information, I'm going to show you some things that I like to do to break out of the box, okay? But the number one thing is that we can get a lot accomplished within this box with the proper phrasing and some more note choices, okay? So let's break it down to its kind of simplest form. If we're in this G blues, and someone's, throws you the solo, or you're at a jam or something, it's time to rip, or you're just in your room, you're on a backing track or something, and you play this. It's not bad and it's not wrong. It just kind of feels a little bland, right? So without even searching for new frets or, new positions, we're just going to color a bit more within that position. So what we're going to do is, and most of you probably already know this, is the blues scale, right? We're going to start accessing that flat 5. Step number 1. So the flat 5 in relation to G is a D flat, right? So that's the 4th fret A string and the 6th fret G string. So even with that, we get some sauce in this. Now we have to be careful with that note because it's very strong. It is not something we want to resolve on. It's something we want to pass through and generally resolve to a safer note. I like to take it to the root, to be honest. So that's using the flat 5, right? Very important in like rock and roll. Van Halen takes that flat 5 to a whole new level. He puts it in all of his licks. It's all over the place. But that's the note that we're hitting when, if you bend up on the 5th fret of the G string, you're bending up to that flat 5, that blue note, right? And the next note that we can access within this shape, so I'm playing a little bit of that flat 5 there. The next note that we can start hitting is the 9 or the 2. The 9 and the 2 are the same thing. It's just the 2 is the lower octave, the 9 is the higher octave. The 2 and the 9 in relation to G is A. So we're going to start hitting an A note, okay? So we're going to walk through the blues scale and start adding the 2. I generally don't play the low one. I really only play, I guess you would say, the 9. It sounds a little muddy down low, but for just context and awareness, we'll play through the whole thing. So we're playing G, then you're going to hit an A. Here's your flat 3. Here's your 4. Now your flat 5, your 5, your flat 7, your 2 could either be the A note on the 7th fret D string or the 2nd fret of the G string. I'm going to go to the G string, then your flat 3, your 4, your flat 5, there's your 5, flat 7, root, 2, flat 3, right? So we're hitting that A note. Now all of a sudden you can see we're getting somewhere. So by adding those 2 notes, we start getting that approaching that Eric Johnson and Bonamassa kind of thing, right? And now what we're going to do, we're going to take it one step further and do what Stevie Ray does, or Albert King, or I mean a ton of guys, but this signature Stevie Ray lick. So that's taking that 2 or the 9 up there on the 5th fret of the E string, and you're gonna flatten it by 1 fret. So it becomes a flat 9, right? So we got so we've not even really gotten out of position or out of this box, but we've accessed some new sounds and been able to really open things up without really moving on the neck. But now we will move on the neck. So we've got we've got 5 positions across the entire neck that we can access, but we're just gonna go up into the next position. What I like to do when I hit the G string, instead of always going to that 3rd fret with the 1st finger, I like to slide up to the 7th fret of the G string, right? So in context of the whole scale, it would look like this. Or skip that flat 5 and just slide straight up to it. Now we're in a different position on the neck. And you can get different sequences. So what this is a little triangle, a little kind of mini block of notes that I like to do. It's 7th fret on the G string, 6th fret on the B string, 8th fret on the B string, 6th fret on the high E string, 8th fret on the high E string, and then I like to slide up a whole step from there. So it's just this little triangle. And then just throw it back into the other position. And then throw it up again. And that's using the 9. And now all of a sudden it sounds a little more melodic, right? Goofed up at the end there, but so that's moving up a little bit of a couple frets to break out of that box physically. Another little triangle I like to use, it's slightly different, but now instead of starting on the 5, like the 5th chord tone, because that's what we're doing, that's that D note there, I like to move up, start off my middle finger on the G string, and basically do the exact same thing, but instead of the 1st finger being in the same spot on the high E string, is just back one fret. So this cluster of notes is, you get your G note, your root, that's a middle finger 12th fret G string. Then you're going similar to the other position, you have your first finger is next on the 11th fret of the B string. Then your ring finger is going to go to the 13th fret of the B string. Stretch back, you're going to access, that's your D note. 10th fret E string. Ring finger is going to go up to the 13th fret E string. And just like that other position, we'll throw it up another whole step to the 15th fret high E string. Okay, so that little shape looks like this. So what we have all together, we have our blues scale and our 9. So that's what that kind of sounds like. Then we've added this little position up here, sliding up on the G string to the 7th fret. Then we have this little position up here on the 12th fret. All I did was kind of resolve it and use the notes down the octave in that position, but that might be a lesson for a later time. And then the last technique or thing that I like to do is just throw everything down here up the octave. So if this is, you know, down, this is on the 3rd fret, then it would be on the 3rd fret past the 12th fret, because the 12th fret is like our octave marker. So anything done based off this position here, like the 3rd position, can just be up, that would be 12 plus 3, so it would be on the 15th fret. Everything stays the same. It's just arguably a lot easier to do it up on the higher strings, cleaner. Right? That's just using the exact same positions, exact same note choices as what I was showing you down here. So, hopefully that helps answer some questions, breaks you out of that box, and gives you some more options. I'll do more videos like this, more lessons. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, just put them in the comment box below. If you like this style of lesson, that's sweet, because it's kind of all I can do. I do them live, I do one take, and it just is what it is. And if you like that, subscribe, share with your friends, and let me know if there's anything else you want to learn. Peace.